My name's Laura Kozelouzek, and I'm the CEO and owner of Quest Workspaces. We have 8 locations that we own, 3 that we manage, majority of the portfolios in Florida, 1 here in New York City. Been doing this for many, many years, as all of us have, and I was, many years ago, in my 20s, started as a center manager, and then went through every recession, and been acquired, was the acquirer, had to renegotiate leases through recessions. It's like, you name it, I feel like I've been there and back and forth, like all of us, I think. But I just have to say something funny. We were all sitting, none of us knew what we were going to be speaking about, so we're all sitting here trying to wonder what this was all about. So Jan and I thought it was about telling funny stories. So as we were talking, I started to think about some funny stories. I want to tell one funny story, that's okay? Because it's late in the day, and we've all had a few drinks by this point, right? So this is a story when I was starting Quest Workspaces, about 4 years ago, and I was going through this whole debate of whether or not do I raise capital, do I not, do I try to bootstrap it? So I was speaking to a friend of mine who was an investment banker friend, and we were putting together a presentation just in case we decided to go that route. And I had my team in Boca helping me put this together. So they sent a presentation directly to him. He calls me up on the phone, he goes, "Laura," he goes, "I think you have some big problems." And I said, "Tell me something I don't really know." he said, "No, he goes, I'm going to send you this presentation. Just take a look at the bottom. You know, what's I guess in a computer is like a little like signature, whatever you call it from your a footer. And at the footer it said Boca's finest escorts." my first thought was like, damn, this is how they're renting all these offices. I really do. Is this really that bad? So lo and behold, it was a problem, but it wasn't quite as big of a problem as I thought. They had confiscated the computers from a client of ours who apparently was the finest escorts, which I guess I wasn't aware of. So anyway, a lot of funny stories like that, but that was when it came to mind. So that's my story. I was, when I was a young whippersnapper, I was working for HQ, and then from there I had a management company, then I had a company that I was partnered with a large real estate group, and that didn't work out so well for me, but it worked out great for Car. But, I mean, it's all good, Angie. But, what I decided to do after that experience was you said, what does it require as an operator getting started now? And I had this crazy thought that I'm going to, open my own centers with no money, really. I mean, which is the truth, very little money. And wasn't sure how I was going to go about doing it. And I think, and I sit back now and I'm even shocked at how far we're able to get with very little capital. And I think the biggest thing I could say in terms of, because it's a little scary now, even after at this point, 4 years later, it's getting even scarier for me because I look at all that new, really amazing competition coming on, a lot of new innovation, a lot of it has a lot of big private equity money behind them. And I guess the only thing I could say is that that's not always what is most important. I think really just having tenacity and being super creative. I've found in speaking with landlords that it's not always the deep pockets that's what's most important, but it's your story, it's your passion, it's your experience, it's your reputation, and I can't tell you how many people I negotiated as my own broker, which first time I ever did that, our lease in the Time Life building, and as I was meeting with Time Life, I'm sitting there saying, I have no business being here. I really have no business being here with all these other Fortune 100 companies. And lo and behold, it was the right time, and I think what sort of sucked them in was sort of the enthusiasm that I had, and this sort of this attitude that, we're not going to fail. And I think so, I guess my point is that it doesn't always come down to, don't be so scared about sort of the big guys out there competing with you. It really, you can make a mark in your own local community, and I think you can run circles around the big guys if you sort of have the right attitude and have that level of tenacity. Everyone keeps talking about co-working. You don't have to be a co-working center to be cool. Seriously. Okay, so I think everyone keeps saying, well, co-working. And I think it really comes down to the way people are working. So you can have the same kind of vibe in a shared office, and it drives me crazy when I read articles about, you know, how co-working is the antithesis of an executive suite or a service office. It doesn't have to be, because, you know, our centers have a lot of energy. We have mojito rooms. It's like, you know, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on there. But my point, yeah, exactly. So, and I was talking to Scott Rabono earlier, and I said we typically don't spend a lot of money. We find second generation space that's pretty much already built out. You know, our work letters are, you know, anywhere between $15 to maybe $25 a square foot, and you'd be surprised with just by picking the right, you know, finishes and some, you know, you can make the space look funky and be pretty contemporary without, you know, spending a boatload. And then, you know, little things like, you know, we're a little different because we're Miami, not DC. So we have mojito rooms, you know, and so our kitchens they look more like pubs in some of the centers, and they've got that kind of funky look. We're opening a new center at 777 Brickell this week, and we have like co-working has phone booths, like funky phone booths. So I was like, we want to do a version of that, but that doesn't really fit 100% with our clientele. So it looks more like a VIP lounge. You know, we've got these curtains and this low lighting and little rooms where people can kind of go into and have that privacy. But it's not, it doesn't have to have that look exactly like a co-working space, but you can be innovative and not spend a lot of money. We have another little corner where we've added one of those walking treadmills, and we put a mural of the beach. You know, so it's like taking some fun little elements. We have a little game area. You know, like, so we try to incorporate things, but we also, you know, we're not spending millions and millions of dollars on our build-outs either, but you can do it without spending a boatload of money. So.
Thank you. I think that's absolutely perfect. And of course, my questions are on my phone.
I think it's kind of cool and scary at the same time, because I think that there's, I think it's so interesting because after being in this business for so long, now you're seeing some really interesting things happening where you never saw before. Like, there's a group in New York City called Workhouse, which is you probably know Deborah, right? She took this really horrible space that was like a B- building and converted it to all different types of space, but it has the bars, the reception area when you first walk in. It has you know, a lot of concrete. It looks very like industrial warehouse-ish. And then you have, you know, like the Soho House concept with New House, which is another concept here in New York City. You're going to find that there's going to be, and these are all hotel people that have gotten involved with that. There's you're going to find space. I think you're going to, like, I can't remember who it was that gave the presentation with all the different types of work. Karen, right, it was Karen. I love that because it just showed that anything is possible, and I think we're going to find more and more of that. And I think that the days of the cookie cutter kind of look and feel, and even in, you know, it's there's going to be space for every type of worker, every type of industry. You know, a combination of maybe a club or a restaurant with a workspace. You saw in the gym, that makes a lot of sense because think about it. You know, the slowest time for the gym is during the day. So I think people in industries are going to take other industries such as the, you know, health club industry. They're going to look at their space and say, gosh, what's our utilization? And we're not using it during the day, so how do we convert it to something else? So I think that just the concept of using space more efficiently it's a trend that's not going away. I do think, when you say our industry, I think there's still a lot of people that find the value in what we do and how we're set up. And I think in 5 years, but I think there's going to be a lot more competition. And I think everyone has to look at their operations really seriously and think, okay, what is my sort of defining concept and what is my differentiation and what am I doing distinctly differently than everybody else? Because just, you know, your space looking like everybody else's and being operated the same way is not going to work, I think.
I think that's also a really good point.
Pricing things, we don't have enough time. But one thing, I'll pick one, and this is just something that's sort of been on my mind lately. So we started this program in Florida, and as we opened a lot of new centers in the last few years. And one of the things that we decided to do, and I'll be honest, it was also from a PR standpoint, was there was this idea that we have all this empty space and it's going to take time to fill it. So we went on the search for local charities that could use the space. You know, local charities, not necessarily your, big name national that needed space for 20 or 30 people, But there's so many groups out, you guys would be shocked, there's so many groups out there that have 1 or 2 people that are working full-time that are devoting their whole other part of their life towards trying to help others. So we were able to identify groups in, we started this in Coral Gables. We found a few groups around the news. It actually ran the story in the news, so we got 1 million applications. We were able to give away meeting space, and now we're doing it every time we open a new center. And it's gotten so bad that now it's gaining popularity, so I'll have like a dozen or 2 applications, and I go through all of them myself, and I read the stories, I call the people, I get to meet them. I feel like Santa Claus, because I get to call them and tell them that we can, and you would be shocked at the tears and the hugs, and it's like they just won the lottery. And I'm saying, God, I'm just giving you an empty office that we're not gonna be doing anything with this for a year anyway, probably, or 6 months. And you don't have to commit long term to it. And we've given virtual offices, we've given conference rooms. So now, my manager in the new location is yelling because I think we're up to like 6 charities. It's like, stop giving the space away. But I can't, and this is something that I'm going to be speaking a lot about as much as I can in front of the industry, because you guys have such an amazing resource out there, and chances are you always have an office free at some point in time. So think about if you were to just, and it feels great for your team. It's, we talk about community, right, within the 4 walls, but you think about it, let's take it outside the 4 walls, and you think about if you can help a local group, and it costs you nothing, because chances are that space is sitting empty, and they can help, hundreds and hundreds of kids or whoever might be through that space. It's amazing. It's like I'm having so much fun with it. It's ridiculous. So if anyone has, I know everyone, I've been talking to people today about it, and everyone's done it from time to time.
And they get the best refunds.
Yes. And I hate to say right. Besides it feeling good, it's it does help your business, because a lot of these charities have amazing board members that you're bringing into the centers. I'm going to be on CBS News next week so it's great PR, and on top of it, you're doing something wonderful. So if you haven't done it, I encourage everybody to do it. That's, the surprising part is I didn't realize how it feels great. So that's nice.
Let's end on that note, shall we? I think it's awesome.